This podcast is part of the Deluxe Edition Network. To find other great shows on the network, head over to deluxeeditionnetwork.com. That's deluxeeditionnetwork.com.
Hold on, stop.
Welcome back to the Shit Show 2.0.
Okay, Boomer.
Damn millennials. Wow.
Did not know that. Even flirters who are obviously mentally ill. You want to be my wife?
Oh, this is gonna go downhill real quick.
What is going on? And welcome to Take on the Wood with
Johnny
and Mike D. We are in the Bat Cave again.
Anthracite Coal.
The Anthracite Coal Cave.
Coal Cave.
It's a little chilly down here. Good thing you got that hoodie on and the hat.
That feels good, I think.
16 sweatshirts.
Yeah, gotta stay warm. There's like 90-mile-an-hour winds out there.
Yeah.
Fucking suck.
I'll tell you what, when I went out to go up to the grill to put the wings on, I smoked wings for our podcast fuel today. It was cold. Like, I was like, I can't believe how cold it is.
I got up here and I stopped to get that, and I was like, Jesus Christ, almost fucking blew me off the handle of my car.
So here we are once again. I want to mention the Deluxe Edition Network. We're on the Deluxe Edition Network. It is a conglomeration of great podcasts. You're going to want to stop and check it out at deluxeeditionnetwork.com. Check out all the great podcasts. There's movie podcasts. There's music podcasts. I'll have the Deluxe Edition.
I got ruined.
Actually, I bought two.
Did you? Oh,
This is my second. What else is on there? Oh, there's, pop culture. There's, 10 Cent Beer Night. There's, and we got some stuff coming up, that I am going to be on, Barrel Age Flicks podcast.
I will not. I am not going to be around for that one. Out of town.
I think Nathan's going to join me.
Oh, cool.
Which would be cool.
Yeah.
Because, with Nathan, like with you, I get a slightly different perspective than me for some things because you're a little bit younger. But Nathan he's just 20 years old. So his perspective is fresh on certain topics, which is awesome. Actually, I don't know if he's going to be on that one. He's going to be on, we're going to do a takeover of, Deluxe Edition.
Yeah.
He's going to be on with me for that. And I have not picked a topic for that yet. I, probably got to do that this week. I'm also going to have a special Valentine's Day podcast with, Ray the Podcaster from 10 Cent Beer Night.
Can you give away what it's going to be about?
Yes. It is going to be about My Bloody Valentine. Both movies, we're going to review both movies and compare them. I had made a statement that he did not agree with. No, it's cool. And after watching both movies, I might change my stance.
Wow. I'm going to definitely have to.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to listen in on that one because this is not often that Mike D changes his stance.
Wait, here's the thing. I changed my stance on that particular statement I made, which I won't go into. However, it holds true to my original stance of how I feel about certain things.
Well, you are the movie buff. I'll give you that.
I'll tell you what though, as much as I love movies and I know movies, I listen to Barrel Age Flicks, Barrel Age Chicks. I listen to, The Real Drunks. I listen to Spoil My Movie podcast, which are all on the Den Network. And I'll tell you what, sometimes they make me feel stupid when it comes to movies. And it's great.
That's why I am stupid, so I can't.
Well, the great thing about listening to them is most of the movies they bring up I've seen. But I haven't seen it in such a long time.
That's like when people start talking about cars. I'm like,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Four barrel? It's got 4 barrels?
Yeah.
Does it shoot 4 bullets?
Yeah. I feel like such a dummy. And even, like football. I don't know. I remember all these names and these things and like, he threw the ball and he put in the end zone and get 7 points, 6 points.
But when I listen to it, they talk about these movies, and I go back and I watch the movie again. I just watched all but the 4th movie in the Insidious series.
Okay. See, that's a lot of watching movies. Well, I mean, well, it's not that bad.
I didn't get fat by jogging, dude.
Well, I mean, I didn't. Well, we'll save this for another time. I do tell you this though. When I first met you, I think that's one of the things that kind of got us together was we started talking about movies.
Yeah.
It was like some kind of rerun for Halloween or something. You're like, I don't like reruns, and I'm like, really? Or not reruns? I'm sorry, remakes.
Yeah. And
I'm like, really? I'm like, sometimes they do a better job. But you've got me to change my mind because now I'm like, it wasn't as good. Maybe I'm just older, more nostalgic. But
and I think that's what some of my stance is. It's nostalgic. Like, yeah.
It's like I said, if you try to remake Tombstone and you had different characters, no, Tombstone to me is always going to be.
Yeah.
But actually, Tombstone was a remake, wasn't it?
Well,
but my Tombstone is always going to be.
Yeah. Val
Kilmer, Kurt Russell.
Well, Kurt Russell's a great actor.
Yes. So it's always going to be those characters.
Yeah.
It's like you can't can't remake a.
You can watch Wyatt Earp, and it's the same story, but it's completely different. It's not Tombstone.
It's a unique. I mean, you had like what? Just I guess what you've kind of grown up with.
Well, wait, like I get nostalgic for certain movies, and when I watch these movies, I watch them, and Nathan does too now. Watch them for the time that they're made.
Yeah.
If you're watching a movie from the 80s, you got to realize they're, and I'm a big fan of practical effects, not CGI. There's a place for CGI, but I like the practical effect. And I watch it and I see the practical effect, and it may look slightly cheesy to somebody else, but to me, it's awesome. All the work and time they put into that makeup or that
claymation
puppet or the claymation, that is just awesome.
I really did enjoy Svengali and all those old movies from like the 60s and the 50s. They're cheesy, but they're fun. Yeah. And it's just so cool to like enjoy like that. Who was that other guy that he like? Guy got murdered. We did a podcast on him, and he was buried underneath his hot tub.
Oh, the movie producer guy.
Yeah.
Can't remember.
But anyways,
but I'll tell you what, I'll link it in this show.
Yeah. I might piss off a lot of people with this statement, but I don't care. It's like the very first Star Wars that came out, the very first one.
Watch it.
Mm-hmm. Yep. You're one of those guys. You was the third one. Like, I didn't get into it. I didn't watch it when I was a kid. I tried to watch it when I was like 25. But I'm like, lame. It's too slow. Like, yeah, but it's the build-up. I'm like, what? I've tried to do it like 3 times. I just can't do it.
I'm so disappointed in you.
I know. Like, the last Star Wars that I watched was, it was awesome. I don't know which one it was. They had, there was a big fight on, like, one of the ships that, like, sunk out in the ocean. And the CGI on it, or whatever the effects were, I was blown away. It was so cool.
The Last Jedi?
There's been like 80 different movies. I don't know.
Yeah, when Disney takes over a movie franchise, they just kind of cash cow at the death.
Yeah, they do.
So anyway, check out the Deluxe Edition Network and all the and that's what happens. I listen to these things and I start watching these movies again. I start talking about them again, and it ends up being, nostalgic and fun. And what was that?
You hear
No. Yeah. So, deluxeeditionnetwork.com.
Check them out.
Hello, everyone. My name is Brad.
And I'm Denise. We are the hosts of World's True Crime Podcast. Every Monday, we release an episode researched by me about the most heinous criminals throughout history from across the globe.
And then every Thursday, we will release an episode from me about disappearances, UFOs, the unexplained, and strange history. To lighten up the episode, we take part in movie trivia at the time of the incidents.
You can find us everywhere you listen to podcasts and find us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook.
We also can be found at worldstruecrime.com. So just remember, everybody, the world's not always as it seems.
No, it's not.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
I'm Chris.
And I'm Mel.
And together we host the podcast Spoil My Movie.
We were watching movies anyway.
And we were having in-depth conversations about those movies too.
So, we decided to share our thoughts with the world.
You can expect me to gripe about inaccurate details like supposedly cold weather, but you can't see anyone's breath.
And you can expect me to be totally adorable, but also psychologically deep.
And by the end of each episode, we'll provide our respective ratings.
Using a rating scale custom tailored to the movie in question.
Check us out wherever you get your podcasts.
We're everywhere. We're actually behind you right now.
So today, usually John will feed me a topic and I will research it. This is a topic I've wanted to do for a long time.
This is right up my alley. I'm glad you chose this one. I love true crime.
Yeah. Also on the Deluxe Edition Network is the World's True Crime, which is True Crime, which I listen to. I love.
Like, some people are like, "Oh, I'm all true crime out." I don't think I could ever get.
There's a lot of crimes out there that we. You know what I don't like? I don't like watching ID channel.
What the heck?
Like Mima's a killer. What they come up with?
Mima's a killer. I like Forensic Files. That's good.
It just gets old. Like we deal with real life stuff at work, and sometimes I don't want to deal with it.
Yeah, well, I mean, like we'll take for instance, shoot off, you can delete this out if you want.
There's no deleting, dude.
Just for time's sake. But there was an episode of Forensic Files where this husband and wife were together for a couple of years. Then all of a sudden, the wife starts getting sick. And she doesn't understand why she keeps getting sick. And every time she goes to the hospital, she gets better. Shocker. And here, the husband worked in like the mining industry. He's like some mining technician. And he's taking arsenic from the job site, grinding it up, and he put it in toothpaste, or shampoo, coffee, everything. He can grind this arsenic up and put it in a lipstick, everything. And he ended up killing her. And he beat.
What?
Because
he beat it?
No. That's that sound again. Beep beep.
Oh, probably is.
Is it? Water dry or something?
Yeah.
I thought it sounds like it's in my headphones.
No, we're still taping, so we're good.
All right. But anyways, so they go through the whole process of like how they found out about this. He was just sloppy as fuck, and it ended up his ex-wife goes to the cops, and she's the one who like basically got him arrested. She's like, yeah, he did the same exact thing to me. And I filed a police report on it, and they found out that he was poisoning me, and they just let him go. They gave him a slap on the wrist. He did the same thing to his ex-wife, or his next wife. Kill him. It's interesting to me. Let's push this plug. Blew away. God damn it.
You missed.
You think my sausage fingers would fucking roll over something? I can hit 8 keys on a phone at one time, but not switch a fucking bug.
So this is something I wanted to do for a long time. This happened down in New Jersey, which is
Armpit of America.
just across the border from us.
It's back into the left.
Yeah. the John List murder.
Jonathan List.
John Emil List.
Piece of shit.
The boogeyman of West.
Oh, really? That's what they gave him?
That's what they gave him.
Okay, I didn't know
Now,
that.
The reason this came up to
Did
me.
you make that up?
No, seriously. That's what they call him. Now, this came up to me because I just did on my lockup series.
Yeah, he said.
I just did the New Jersey State Penitentiary. He was locked up there. He was one of the infamous inmates at the New Jersey State Penitentiary or Trenton Penitentiary.
See, now, did you follow up in this series? In this series, did you follow up about how he was in prison?
No. I just mentioned the people who were locked up there.
I'd like to know how.
The series is more about the jails themselves.
No, I meant in this series.
Oh, this?
Yeah.
No, I still didn't.
I mean, you probably wouldn't be able to find that out unless you had an inside source. But I wonder how he was in prison. Solitary? Sure, was he on death row?
No.
So he general pop?
By the time he was arrested and tried for this, New Jersey had discontinued the death penalty.
Yeah.
I think they discontinued the death penalty in 1971. So, John Emil List, was born September 18th, 1925 in Bay City, Michigan. And the very end of this goes back to Bay City, Michigan again. He was the son of John Frederick List and Alma Barbara Lawrence List. He followed in his father's footsteps, became a devout Lutheran and Sunday school teacher. He finally died March 21st, 2008.
Good riddance.
Yep. But by all accounts, John List appeared to be the perfect son, husband, and father. In 1943, he graduated from Bay Central High School and joined the United States Army. He served as an Army laboratory technician during World War II. He was discharged in 1946. After the Army, he went to University of Michigan in Ann Arbor, and he earned a bachelor's degree in business administration and a master's degree in accounting. He was commissioned as a second lieutenant to the ROTC.
What does ROTC stand for?
Recruit Officer Training C.
Okay.
I don't know if it's here. Recruit Officer Training
Center?
Candidate Cadet.
No, I think you're right. Cadet.
Good question. Thanks for stumping me. Make me look stupid.
You're welcome. You can always count on me, Michael.
I know. You get one a show. Almost every show you get one.
You just never know what this little fucking brain's going to come up with.
Now, because he was commissioned as a second lieutenant, he was recalled to active military service due to the Korean War. Escalation in November of 1950.
Doing
I think that's ridiculous. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Blood work and checking people's anuses. I don't know.
Ah, see, you got a little bumpy anus. Let me take care of that for you. Let me give you a list of problems that's wrong with your anus.
I don't know. I'm not going to be able to pronounce this. Fort
Eustis?
Eustis in Virginia? Don't know.
That's how I would say it. Fort Eustis.
He met the widowed Helen Morris Taylor, whose husband was an infantry officer killed in Korea.
Killed in action.
Yes.
KIA.
She lived near the fort with her daughter. So she had a child already. So December 1st, 1951, they married in Baltimore, Maryland. and moved to Northern California.
Jesus Christ, this guy was all over the place.
Oh, all over the place, dude. So, due to his degrees, the Army reassigned him to the Finance Corps. He completed 2 tours in 1952. I guess the tour was a year. He went to work in an accounting firm. He became an audit supervisor at a paper company in Kalamazoo, Michigan, where 3 of his children were born. By 1959, he had risen in the company as general supervisor of the company's accounting department. During this time, Helen became increasingly unstable due to alcoholism. Also, a certain type of syphilis she had that she got from her husband, who was killed in that.
Ooh, syphilis. Fuck bad.
Yeah.
That's the one that makes you all deformed in the end.
I don't know. It could make you crazy.
Yeah, that's the one that came back from it was like the Aztecs plague on Europe. They said
It's an STD.
Yes, it affects you. You get like a rash for 2 weeks, it goes away. You get some other kind of thing for like 2 weeks. Then it can go 10, 15, 20, 30 years before it hits its final stage.
I think Napoleon had this.
I just watched a thing on it. Very interesting.
So you're watching STD films?
Yeah. I was figuring out how to scrub this lesion off my dick.
Okay. Cool. Work at it, bro.
Well, syphilis. See you in 30 years.
Helen's daughter, Brenda, grew up. She got married. She left the household. John List moved the family to Rochester, New York for a job with Xerox. He eventually became a director of accounting services. In 1965, he took a position as vice president and comptroller at a bank in Jersey City, New Jersey. He moved his wife, children, and mother into a 19-room Victorian mansion on Hillside Avenue, Westfield, New Jersey. So apparently his wife had extravagant taste, and they were living a little bit beyond their means to begin with. They bought this mansion.
A 19-room
mansion. Yeah.
I wonder if the place still exists.
No, it does not.
No?
We'll get there, Johnny. Jump ahead.
Yes!
You gotta get one of those in, too, every time.
I mean, I gotta stay true to form, man.
I'll tell you what happened now. A year after the murders took place, actually, 8 or 9 months.
Yeah.
The house was burnt down by an arsonist.
Huh.
And when they were going through debris, they found out, there was a chandelier in the, main room that was a Tiffany original. And at that time, it was worth $100,000.
Oh, that's right. I remember that. Yeah. Don't go any further.
I won't, because
yeah,
that's significant, I believe.
Yes, it is.
This seemed like the American dream come true to John List and his family. However, not everything was as it seemed. His mother was known for her fierce protectiveness of John. As a child, List had very few friends, and they chalked this up to his prohibition on leaving the neighborhood unless he was under his mother's strict supervision. Although this seemed to be the only anomaly from his childhood that I could find, didn't seem like there was abuse. I guess his father was strict, his mother was strict, but he went through his military career. It seemed like there was no issues there. There were no reports from schools with issues. So a lot of times we've seen these serial killers and spree killers have, all kinds of problems in schools, all kinds of problems at work, all kinds of problems in the military. There's none of that.
So was he honorably discharged?
Yeah. He was known as being aloof and cold. And that his coworkers would say that. He was very, but yeah, he was a boss. So he could have been just, keeping his professional distance. Just as it was when he was a child, he didn't have many friends. While it seemed he was jumping job to job to better his situation, the reality was his social skills, or lack thereof, caused him many problems and led to repeated job losses. So he would build himself up because he was a worker, but he was a dick. So he would have problems with coworkers, and
So weirdo.
he would leave for another job, I guess, before he would get fired.
Yeah.
And he would just keep moving. He kept moving on like that.
Just chasing the dragon.
Literally.
Well, yeah, not.
That's heroin.
Yeah, but you know what I mean.
Yes. I know what you meant. He would get so far in his job and his social issues would catch up and he would move on. When he lost his job at the New Jersey bank in 1971, he was overwhelmed with shame. So now he's paying for this large house. He's taking care of his mother. He's financially taking care of his mother, his wife, his 3 kids. So he would get up every morning, leave send the kids off to school. He'd leave the house. He'd go to the train station. He'd either sleep at the train station or read the newspaper or book.
Yeah. He just hid under he put a lampshade on top of his head and hid in the corner. I hope nobody notices.
And he did that for a long time.
Like, what? Like, go get a job. I don't know.
Well, he tried to get a job. He couldn't find it. He couldn't find another job. So what he was doing was skimming money from his mother's account to pay the mortgage. But they still fell behind. And they started foreclosing on the house. He refused to go on welfare, as it would entail excruciating embarrassment in the community and violate the principles of self-sufficiency that his father taught him. On November 5th, he asked his family how they would want their remains handled after death. Like,
a little weird.
That's a red flag.
Like, what? Like, hey, Timmy, I'm like,
Hey,
oh.
Timmy, if you were to die 4 days from now,
Yeah.
how exactly would you want to be buried? You want to be cremated, or
you okay with a wool blanket being draped over you?
You want silk sheets in your coffin?
Or,
on November 9th, 4 days later, oddly enough, 1971, he saw his children off to school. List left a note for the milkman, canceled the milk delivery. He canceled the newspaper. He canceled the mail. Like, basically any reason for anybody to come to the front door. So he sent the kids off to school. He walked back in the kitchen where his wife was sipping her morning coffee and shot his wife in the back of the head, and it came out and shattered her jaw.
Jesus Christ. What a cold fuck. What a caliber.
Okay, we're getting there. I remembered this time. Yeah, you always ask me, and
okay.
It's significant because he used 2 different guns to do these murders.
Got 2 guns, one for each of you.
So supposedly he went out to his car, got the 2 weapons, or one of the 2 weapons out of his car, and one was in his office. But if you go to Wikipedia, which is never a good source for anything,
it's not vetted highly enough.
But I went to Murder Wiki. I went to
Murderpedia.
The Murder Wiki.
I think there's another one called Murderpedia.
Yeah, something like that.
Anyway.
And then I went to the Military Wiki because since he had a military background, it was in there. And all the facts of this case were different.
Really?
But yeah, like there were so many things that were like, you see how it says she was shot in the jaw there when I wrote it? Well, that's what the first one said. But after watching a few videos, and looking at the crime scene photos, I have the crime scene photos, the shot went in the back of her head and came out her jaw.
Well, that makes sense. You're too much of a coward to look at her in the face.
He shot him all in the back of it, with the exception of one. So he left his wife lay dead in the kitchen. He went to the third floor apartment where his mother lived and shot her. Well, he shot her in the eye. When she fell, she broke her knees.
Oh, God.
So apparently she was a heavy woman.
Heavy elderly women with like, I don't think they drank a lot of milk back then, did they?
They probably did.
Brittle bones.
The 70s, yeah, he always drank milk. You were supposed to have milk with every meal in the 70s. So he took her, rolled her up in a carpet runner, and shoved her into a closet because she was too heavy to drag down the steps. He went back downstairs. He dragged his wife's body into the ballroom. But he put her on a sleeping bag and dragged her into the ballroom. And then he went back in the kitchen and tried to clean up. And then he went up to his mom's room and tried to clean up. He realized he's covered in blood. So he took a shower and changed. He initially had planned on waiting for the children to come home from school and kill them as they were coming in the door. See, this is where it starts different. Wikipedia said that they came home, he shot them. But the video that I watched said that his daughter got sick at school and called the house and said, hey, can you come pick me up? So he went to the school and picked her up. When they got back to the house, he went in the house and quickly hid behind the door. When she walked in and walked by him, he shot her in the back of the head. Put her on a sleeping bag, laid her next to him running.
I have no words for this coward.
Oh, he is the most cowardly piece of shit ever.
Like, you couldn't just be a man and just kill yourself after, or just kill yourself first?
Yeah, be a man. Well, no,
or be a man.
But here's the thing:
deal with it,
because he was so religious, and the Lutheran religion is very close to Catholics. In suicide is like a mortal sin, so couldn't commit suicide.
Oh, but you're not supposed to commit murder either.
Well, so his 13-year-old son Frederick arrived home from school. This shot him in the back of the head as well. So John went back to his day. He made a sandwich. Gee, right. He ran some errands.
Sandwich.
He went to the bank, closed out some bank accounts, cashed out some savings bonds, posted some mail.
Went to
the mail he sent was to the children's teachers and the children's employers, saying that they were going on a trip to North Carolina. They wouldn't be around for a while. Let's also stop the mail in the newspaper so they wouldn't pile up and draw suspicion. In newspapers that get thrown on your front porch, the mail sometimes would be just stuck in a slot. And if it would pile up too far, or if it would be in the mailbox, the postman would say, hey, what the fuck? What did you get in the mail?
A little strange.
So, List then went, his oldest son, now see this difference too. One said that his oldest son came home early and he surprised him. That's what Wikipedia said. But in 2 or 3 of the videos that I watched on this, List went to his 15-year-old son's high school soccer game, cheered him on, drove him home, and when he tried to shoot his son, the gun misfired. And John Jr. fought back, attempting to defend himself. Wow. So John Sr. then shot his son 10 times in the face and chest.
Jesus Christ. See now, okay, this is, I remember watching I can remember the guy's narrating voice. Yeah. It was basically almost like the first one you said, where he basically, they probably just did this for time's sake, but he basically shot them one by one as they came home. And they did allude, they said that John Jr. came home early, surprised him, gun misfired, and there was an altercation. He didn't go into all this, like, I'm going to a fucking soccer game, and just meanwhile, you just think you're at a soccer game, cheering them on while your family's dead at your house.
Good shot, John. Good shot. I'll show you a good shot later.
Yeah.
Like, you kill your wife, that's terrible in itself. You kill your mother, that's terrible. But to kill your children, like, what kind of demented, twisted piece of shit are you?
You've seen this a bunch. There was one right. Like,
I know.
5 miles from where I live.
I know. I
But
don't.
the dude killed himself too.
I don't get it.
I could never, ever. This just popped in my head. But anyways, going from there.
Text me or you'll forget.
To really, I was thinking like my kid, a little kid, man. They just. Whenever I see like a little baby or a kid in a stroller and walking around the mall or working wherever, and I see them just like, it makes me happy. Like, it brings me joy. Like, I'm like, as long as they're not crying and like carrying on. It's kind of
Smack.
no, but I mean, it's like,
No, like, yeah.
But it's like, just the
How could you?
just the innocence.
How could anybody harm a child? Period.
Just the innocence.
So now he shot them all. He's got them all lined up in the living room, except for Mom, who was too fat to bring downstairs.
You get in the closet, fatty bo fatty.
Now he's got them all lined up. So he drapes towels over their face, gets on his knees and prays for them.
No.
Then he went around the house and he cut his face out of every family photo. So it'd be harder for them to identify him. 1971, you didn't have centralized databases with everybody's face in it. You didn't have face recognition on your phone that they could reverse engineer and get your picture.
And I probably would have taken every family photo down because it's kind of obvious. Got dad's face out. Like,
Well, I think it was obvious. Well, no, he left a note then.
Did anybody get a look at this guy? What did he look like? Oh, well, he looked like that.
He left a note. Confessed why he did it.
He was
twisted. So he turns off the lights, or he turns on all the lights in the house. And then he turns the thermostat down as low as it goes.
Yeah, what time of year was this? Did it say?
Yes, it did.
You said there was
November.
Okay, so it was cold. So
Yeah.
he just didn't wait.
Right. So he turned the thermostat all the way down.
Stink.
He puts on religious organ music, and it's playing on the intercom throughout the whole house.
Do you have like the things in the windows?
No. No. So on December 7th, nearly a month later, just almost a month exactly, the neighbors noticed some of the lights were flickering. I guess some of the light bulbs were going out and they were flickering. So the neighbors called the police and they came and discovered the body. So John left a long letter for his pastor. Now on Wikipedia, it says he sent the letter. On everything else, it said that the letters were placed or taped to a filing cabinet in his office.
I'm sure this guy fucking prancing around in heaven because he's a fucking Catholic. Lutheran. That's like Catholic white.
Yes.
They don't kneel as much in church.
Yeah. You're right.
And they sing a lot more.
So he claimed that he feared for his family's relationship with God would unravel and that they would not safely make it to heaven if they continued to live the way they were. Apparently his daughter had started dressing a little too provocative for his taste and was getting involved in like drama. She wanted to be an actress and he didn't feel that that was a proper profession for her. List also in the letter made specific instructions for the burials. After all, just 4 days before that, he had asked his family how they want to be buried. But he didn't leave any money to pay for it. His church paid for a plot at Westfield Cemetery where his wife and children were buried. His mother was sent back to Bay City, Michigan, and buried there. So the way I take this is he left this note saying how his family should be buried, and they did what he said. That's how I take it.
Yeah, that's how I think it too. Were you thinking it would be some different way?
No, like, why would you listen to what he fucking wants? Who cares what you want? You just killed your family, you asshole.
Yeah, but maybe, yeah, I get what you're saying.
Like, this guy's got no credibility, no standing in my eyes.
Right.
He should forfeit his life.
Absolutely.
So 2 days later in the investigation, List's car turned up at long-term parking in New York's JFK International Airport. Now, they didn't feel that he took a flight out of the United States. However, they put out a coast-to-coast APB, and they included the APB to West Germany and German-speaking areas of South Africa because he spoke fluent German. Because his parents were German. There was no trace of him. The result, no leads, no list. At the funeral, plainclothes officers cruised the church and cemetery just in case he'd show up for the funeral.
And that you talked about this before. That quite often happens.
Yeah.
The perp will revisit his, where the crime happened. Basically, kind of glorification out of it.
Yeah. Authority says that the List wanted poster. List wanted police to find the letter to the pastor plus 3 other relatives. So there was like 4 letters that were taped together on a filing cabinet. He left the key to the filing cabinet that contained the letters and 2 pistols. One was a .22 caliber Colt revolver, and the other was a 9mm Steyr 1912 German semi-automatic handgun. It's actually a half decent looking gun. I was looking for the letter itself. There's gotta be pictures of it someplace.
Yeah.
I didn't find the letter, but I found the crime scene photos, and I'm torn as to whether I post them or not. Because they're graphic.
Very.
Yeah. And he's dead now, so.
I mean, you can. For me, I would post them, but you get a lot of people that they don't feel it's appropriate to post pictures of dead people. You let them rest.
Well, that's like I want to honor the victims.
Why don't you just put it up if you want to find them?
I do have the wanted poster, which I have a picture of that, and I'm going to throw that up. In 1971, as the FBI later discovered, List had traveled by train from New Jersey to Michigan and then to Colorado. He settled in Denver early 1972. He took an accounting job under the name Robert Peter Clark, Bob, which was one of his college classmates. Although the classmate, the Bob Clark, the real Bob Clark, later asserted he never knew List. Whether he was just saying that or if he didn't actually know him, I don't know. 1979 to 1986, he was a comptroller for a paper box manufacturer outside of Denver. He got comfortable after a while. He joined the Lutheran congregation. Shit. And he would use his car, and he got a driver's license and a car, and then he would use his car to take meals. He like did meals on wheels to shut-ins who were members of the church.
How can you live with yourself after doing it?
Dude, I have no clue. So at one religious gathering, he met an Army PX clerk named Doris Miller and married her in 1985. So that he never really, all he said is his wife had died and they didn't have kids. So he never showed any pictures of his past life. No. Bernard Tracy joined the Westfield Police Department and quickly became interested in the case. 13 years later, he was no closer to finding the fugitive. In an attempt to rekindle interest in the case, Tracy approached Weekly World News, and the supermarket tabloid ran a story about the List case. Now, in 1986, you saw the Weekly World News at the supermarket. every story in there he thought was fake.
Oh, is that like the Inquirer?
Yeah.
Okay. Elvis is found alive.
So you had
He's married to an alien.
aliens marrying Elvis on the front cover, and on the second page, the John List murder. So,
Why would they run it in a magazine?
which the detective just approached anybody who would take.
I mean, this is probably, how long now?
13 years.
13 years? It's a cold case. And I'm sure
It's cold.
they suspected him from the get-go.
But see, it happened in 71.
They just couldn't find the motherfucker.
And that was, they posted this in 86.
Oh, shit.
Ignore that horrible sound.
Yeah.
So his neighbor and his new wife's best friend was Wanda Flannery. And she read these tablets.
Fucking Wanda.
Yeah.
Blame it on Wanda.
She lived in Aurora, Colorado.
That's where the frickin' the Batman killer was from.
Yeah.
It shot up the theater. Aurora.
Yeah. So the photo that accompanied the story, she thought resembled her neighbor Bob Clark. She mentioned Wanda went to.
I thought you shut off there for a second.
I was reading it. It didn't make sense. Wanda went to Dolores, who's her best friend, and said, "Hey, this dude looks like your husband." And Dolores said, "Yeah, there's no way. He's a good church-going man. There's no way it could be a murderer. It's not him. It's just a doppelganger." Shortly thereafter, the Clarks ran into financial difficulties caused by Bob's poor handling of their money, and they relocated to Richmond, Virginia. So in February of 1988, the couple moved to a house in Brandermill neighborhood of Virginia.
Midlothian.
List still used the name of Bob Clark, resumed work as an accountant at a small firm. What firm was? Madria, Joyner,
Kirkham,
and Woody. Dewey, Cheatham, and Howe.
Yeah, what a fucking weird
name. In 1972, List was. Oh, this is cool. So right after this happened.
Oh, you were telling me that's why. Yeah, okay. All right, I want to hear this.
Right after this happened was the D.B. Cooper case. So, John List was proposed as a suspect in the D.B. Cooper case because of the timing of his disappearance. It was 2 weeks prior to the airline hijack.
And who knows? This motherfucker was all over the place.
Yeah. He had multiple matches to the hijacker's description. The suits, the glasses, the height.
Although I think everything.
You're right. And they also reasoned that he was a fugitive accused of mass murder and had nothing to lose.
I find it interesting, but I don't think it was him. I mean, well, he does got some balls on him that do all that shit. Well, I don't say balls, but why would you risk giving yourself up? Who knows?
He was taken off the suspect list, but when they questioned him, they did ask him about it, and he denied any involvement.
Of course.
His name is still occasionally mentioned in the Cooper articles and documentaries.
Yeah, you know what? I've never heard that till mention that to me for the first time.
Yeah, that's crazy. The FBI no longer considers him a suspect. So back to the detective Bernard Tracy. He was frustrated by his inability to crack the case, so he approached America's Most Wanted, which initially they showed very little interest in the case. And I don't know if like a year later they were like grasping for a case or he approached them again but they contacted him and said, "Hey, we want to take a look at this case." And that proved to be a major turning point in this investigation. America's Most Wanted featured John List case on May 21st, 1989. As soon as it aired, they took 250 calls. They hired a forensic sculptor, Frank Bender. And this dude, he had in the past reconstructed victims from a skull, like their face from a skull.
Yeah.
But he didn't have a skull this time. All he had was their description. And he made this he made a clay bust, and then they made a mold and made a fiberglass.
Now the bust, was that from the waist up? Or was that...
The bust is just the head. Shoulders up. So, he did everything for this. Like, the way that his jowls sagged, the way he had the gobbler on the chin, he aged them.
Fucking spot on.
It was
you gotta have both pictures.
I'm gonna put both pictures up. But the one thing that he did is he knew that List wore glasses, but he figured he would wear glasses that would make him look more important than he really was. So he picked these certain pair of glasses, and wouldn't you know, when he was fucking arrested, that's the exact same pair of glasses he was wearing. Exact same style. So, they showed this bust of John List. One anonymous caller from Colorado said John List was living in Richmond, Virginia, under the name of Bob Clark. The caller, as it turns out, I think was Wanda Flannery's daughter.
I was going to say, God damn it, Wanda.
A nosy neighbor.
You fucking nosy neighbor. You got me locked up, you bitch.
So, the FBI went into the place where Bob Clark worked in Virginia, walked up to him and said, "Are you Robert Clark?" And he said, "Yes, I am." They said, "Are you John List?" He goes, "Who?" He denied being John List. They took him into custody, and he was put on trial. Who? At his trial, he claimed that he sent his family to heaven by killing them. If they had stayed alive, that their sin would not have been unforgivable sin, because of suicide. He couldn't commit suicide because it would be unforgivable in eyes of the Catholic. And his family.
Oh, wow. He was taking one for the team. Is that what he's trying to ultimately go with?
I'm gonna go to heaven because I didn't kill myself, but I killed my family. On April 12th, 1990, List was convicted in New Jersey court on 5 counts of first-degree murder. On May 1st, he was sentenced to 5 consecutive terms of life imprisonment. He died of pneumonia on March 21st, 2008. And he was in New Jersey State Penitentiary.
Pretty much the same time on the run.
Yeah. And New Jersey State Penitentiary is one of the oldest jails in the United States.
Well, I sure hope he had a hard time.
I hope he did too. So I will be throwing some pictures up with this and whatnot, but
what does he think? He's like some sort of like. What did he say? Oh, save my kids from a life from hell.
he feels like he did the right thing.
Like, how fucking bad were your kids?
Well, he felt his daughter was, because she was dressing in a manner he didn't feel was okay. Like, dude, that's just sickness in your head.
Can you imagine him nowadays?
He'd be killing everybody.
Yeah, he'd have to kill half the 3/4 of the world.
Anyway, now I had heard a podcast that we listened to when we first started doing the List murder, and I didn't want to like jump on it, and because they had just done one, but it was something I did want to cover at some point.
You stole their idea, Michael.
Well, I don't know that I stole. Maybe.
No, I
appropriated.
it's like if there's something interesting that I'm looking at, I will look up every fucking thing I can.
Well, that's how I love the research of
I don't care if it's like if you're saying the same exact thing as the last one. Okay. But there's always something you can glean from each video.
Yeah.
There's always one snippet or something like when we watched the our podcast for Mercator.
Yeah.
When I originally, before I even thought about doing a podcast, I was like, I want to know everything. There was like 10 videos, and they're all pretty much the same thing. I'll look at our video that we have. It has a ton of views. Same with thing with like, we'll say for instance, this new murder that happened in Idaho, where the dude murdered 4 people.
Yeah.
And like, I'm just watching everything fucking going on.
Well, yeah, that guy was arrested 2 counties away from us.
Yeah. And it's just, I can't wait for more shit to come out on that. I don't really get too much involved with, because nothing's been released, so you know that it's just all speculation.
Yeah.
So I don't want to pollute my mind with that.
And with this case, like, you look at the outward appearance of the family, everything seemed perfect.
Yeah. Oh, you never touched on the chandelier.
Oh, well, I did, but I didn't. So a year after the murders, the house was torched. It was
Did they find out who did it?
It was determined arson. They never found out who did it. So they found a chandelier. But, like, if he had known the worth of the chandelier, he could have sold the chandelier and maintained the family for a couple years there without killing anybody.
Yeah.
It just doesn't make any sense to me.
I think his brain was so probably molest that girl, kill her, one of them, all of them, who knows? Oh, she wore a mini skirt to school. She's going to hell.
I don't get
Gotta
that.
put a bullet in her head.
That'll teach her.
I certainly ain't going to hell. I did God's work. I don't like that convoluted thinking.
No.
You're not doing anything. Selfish.
It's your mental illness that's causing that, nothing else.
Yeah.
And I hate when they use religion to justify their.
Yeah.
Just like I stopped watching Law and Order because every religious person they showed on Law and Order was a kook. Like every single one was a kook. And every time they show in movies, they show a correction officer, they're pieces of shit.
You know,
they show cops and they're pieces of shit.
I don't because I can pretty. I didn't take to it, you know. There's nothing. What's bad from religion? It's not like you're going out telling people to kill people. But for the most part, it's spreading a good message.
Yeah.
In this day and age, all this fucking bullshit.
Can I get an amen?
Get an amen.
So that's a John List murder.
Boogeyman of Westfield.
Now, I did want to mention that on the show Criminal Minds, John List was mentioned twice on that show as a family annihilator, as an example of family annihilator when they were doing their profile on somebody else.
I don't get that. Big family annihilator. I knew that was a word for a phrase.
Yeah,
but it certainly happened.
Yeah. Well, it should.
Well, you just see there was a case in Idaho. Was he? Dude killed the whole fucking family 8 himself.
Where is that?
I don't know, but it's been in the news in like past 2 weeks.
I stopped watching this.
It's like all they want to focus on is killings, murder, everything negative. I don't know. Yeah, it sucks. Like, what the fuck are we going as a country?
Right down the shitter.
As what?
And you know what? The shit is full.
Shitter's full. I just want to know: has it always been like this, or
what
exacerbated because
this was 1971?
Because we have instant access all around the world.
Well, I think everything's exacerbated because you have instant access to media, and the media always wants to have a story, so they latch on to the most demented and twisted shit that they can, and they put it forward as this is what's happening every day. And when you think about it, all the people in the United States every day go through life with nothing like this happening. Yeah. And they make it seem like this happens every day to everybody.
I think, maybe we should just try experiment and just not give people the infamy that they see.
I agree.
Just squash them, never even heard of them, never existed.
But we're part of the problem too. We just did a whole podcast on John List. And I tell you what, I couldn't tell you what his daughter's name was. And
is that the one that moved away?
No, Barbara was the one who moved away. I remember her.
So she was the only survivor.
Yes. But now she wasn't his daughter. So, his children, like I had spoke of his son's names, but his daughter's name wasn't mentioned. I don't think.
Really? The one he killed.
The one he killed. I couldn't tell you her name. Patricia. I knew Frederick and I knew John Jr. I couldn't remember.
That's just disgusting.
But those are the people we need to remember. The victims. The victims are the ones that need to be remembered. So
you put your trust. That's like me. Like if I was your son, I trust you. You're going to take care of me. You got my back. Even my son, like my friend, you betrayed me. That's the ultimate betrayal.
No,
I would rather die than betray you.
I would never. If someone hurt my children, their safest place would be in jail. That's true.
I wouldn't even know what to do.
I'll tell you, I know what to do. The safest place for them is in jail. But I digress.
Let's digress to something more.
So our next topic I have to pick is going to be something positive, something fun. Because these always get me. Like when we do the true crime stuff,
this guy was.
I get into it. I get into the research, but then I walk away and I'm like, fuck that. Fuck. Yeah. You know, we did Ramirez.
Oh, what a monster that guy was.
Like I walked away from. Like we named all those victims. I wanted to name the victims, but man, I just walked away from that feeling like
as an able-bodied person, do something, you feel helpless, right?
Yeah.
Like you do. You kind of feel like, and then you feel like, even if you were like, I watched a documentary on that, and it was the guy that he went in. He was like the fourth or fifth person shot.
Little Ricky?
No. It was a husband and wife. So he ended up changing guns. Went to a 32. First
Little Ricky.
No, he was first. It was like a man who was like 20. His wife.
Yeah, we were during that whole podcast. We were calling Richard Ramirez.
Oh, Little Dicky. Yeah, Little Dicky. Yeah,
Little Dicky.
Yeah, his name's still Little Dicky. And so, anyways, he ended up switching his gun from a 22 to a 32. And I think that's the only reason this dude didn't die. Whatever he missed or whatever. He broke into the house. He shot the dude in the head. Shot the wife. They didn't say, but I believe he raped her. And they are asking him. It was actually Richard Ramirez's niece and his, who would that be? His brother's wife. We're interviewing this guy, sister-in-law. And, he's like, yeah, he was like blind in this eye. He had a stroke and he didn't move on this side. He was like walking in the team. The day he came in, I didn't know what happened. I just woke up in the hospital waiting. And I come to find out that serial killer shot my wife. His wife ended up saying, I can't take care of a crippled person. Left him. He lost his job and lost his home. And it's like, then he's like, I contemplated like killing myself.
A cascade of shit.
Yeah.
Little Dicky.
Little Dicky. And this was like 30 years after the fact that Little Dicky niece and sister-in-law were talking to this guy. Kind of reconciled. And it seemed like he was doing better, but God damn. You just don't know, like, the effects.
Well, you know this story, but I'm going to relay a story. I was a victim of violent crime. I was in a bank when it got robbed.
Yeah, yep.
So I was on duty. I stopped at the bank to make a deposit. Usually I carry a weapon. I didn't have a weapon that day. I walked in and a guy came in and said, everybody on the floor, this is a robbery. And like I spun around, he came in behind me, the door's right behind me. And he walked across the way, and there was a woman at the center kiosk. And I thought he hit her. And I'm like, motherfucker! Like I was ready to puff up and go after him. Mm-hmm. And if I had had my weapon at that point, I would have drawn on him there. Mm-hmm. Good thing I didn't, because 30 seconds later, his partner comes to the front door. He would have been at my back. But I got pissed off because I thought he hit that woman. And I wasn't on the floor. So he walked over to me, held the gun right to my head and pushed me to the floor and told me, I tell you get on the floor, you get on the floor. And then, like, at this point, I'm still not scared. The lady behind the counter is pointing the gun at her. And I'm looking at this dude's leg, thinking, I bet I could roll this motherfucker up and get that gun from him. And then I came to my senses. I'm like, I got $200 in my pocket. What the fuck am I thinking?
I got kids at home.
Like this lady, like it still wasn't about me. It was still, this lady could get shot if I grab him. So I'm not going to do anything.
5 kids to feed, man.
So they do the robbery. They take off. The manager is so shook she can't lock the door. So I grab the key from her, lock the door. I make sure everybody's okay. They ask me to write, while it's fresh in my memory, everything that happened. I guess the bank has a policy. I opened the door to let the cops in. When the cops got there. When the cops got there, I said, look, I got to get back to work. I'm going to be in trouble. They let me leave. Didn't take my name, nothing. So that the cops let me leave a crime scene. They didn't know if I was the guy who robbed the bank or not. So I get in my vehicle, I leave, I go back to the place where we work, and I walk into our big boss, and I said, hey, I got to tell you what happened. You're going to hear. Before I even got back to the jail, the police had called up to the jail and said one of the officers of the jail was just involved in a bank robbery. Everybody thought that one of the officers from the jail robbed the bank. Really? But seriously, dude. So I go up and I talk to the DW, and I'm telling her, look, this is what happened. She goes, write a report, everything that happened, explain why you were there. You might get written up because you're supposed to be there. And the cops never called me, asked me what happened. Not like, it was like a week later, one of the officers that I knew asked me, hey, what happened there? And I said, dude, I'm telling you, those guys were inmates at one point at the jail. They knew who I was. Because I could tell by the way they talked to me, blah, 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 blah.
Hard to mistake you.
I explained it to them. But when they came in, it was wintertime. I was wearing that big Carhartt coat. And I pulled my coat close and I shoved that money in the pocket. I was running a wrestling organization, and that's what the money was from. I was depositing it in the wrestling account. But I didn't get scared for me until I was driving home that night. And then I thought, holy fuck, that dude was holding a gun to my head with his finger on the trigger. And I was worried about the lady got hit on the other side. I was worried about the lady behind the counter. But when it hit me, I had to stop, pull over, and like take a few minutes and like big deep breaths and
yeah.
But that's when it hit me. It didn't hit me right away.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you kind of get that sense for either fight or flight. You know? You never know how you're going to react.
Well, I know what I thought I was going to do. I thought I was going to grab that guy's legs. And if there hadn't been a lady across from him with the gun, I may have. But then I thought, look, I got $200. Take it. Like my life is worth a lot more than $200. And that's not the first time someone pointed a gun at my head.
I always like to think I'd man up and puff up. And you never know.
Well, I was about to do that thing and take his gun. That's what I was going to do.
You do like that thing where like they do that and they're like up in heaven and like, oh man, come on.
I love those videos because to grab someone's gun like that's just stupid. Anyway, so we took on the John List murders and a whole lot of other stuff. Now you go take on the world.
This podcast is part of the Deluxe Edition Network. To find other great shows on the network, head over to deluxeeditionnetwork.com. That's deluxeeditionnetwork.com.
Hold on, stop.
Welcome back to the Shit Show 2.0.
Okay, Boomer.
Damn millennials. Wow.
Did not know that.
Even flirters who are obviously mentally ill. You want to be my wife? Oh, this is gonna go downhill real quick.